Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett and thank you for spending some time with me today because in this video, we are talking about details that make the difference, okay? They are the standout features between an okay home and a home that looks good and a home that is beautiful, is stunning, and it lives well. Now, the first detail we have to talk about is something very specific that I always like to discuss with my clients to make sure we nail to perfection in their homes, and that is table height. Table heights matter, and I'm not talking about the height of your dining room table. Like, that's a very standard height, right? Around 30 inches. Fine, great. I mean in a living space, in a furniture arrangement, when you have small tables in that area, coffee table, side table, accent table, what are the heights of all of those? Even like a console table or a media console, those things matter in terms of the height of them because how do they relate to everything and how can we actually use them? An example, there was a massive trend about the plinth coffee table, but you know, stone is really heavy, it's really expensive, and so they were making them very, very low, right? If your seat was at 18 inches, the height of that table might have been 10. Okay, so it's basically on the ground. How are you using it? You're leaning all the way off the sofa to get to the table. That's insane and it's practically unusable. So if you used all low tables, you'd have to have all low furniture, at which point we may as well just sit on the floor, right? So we have to be thoughtful about the table heights in the space, and it also depends on the type of table. A coffee table, for example, either needs to be at the seat level, which is tends to be about 18 inches, or it can sit a little bit taller. That's called a cocktail table. It might be 21 inches. They're more accessible, easy to access. They balance the scale and proportions of the room so much better. And I can actually reach it and set my drink down on it. I can put a little whatever I have there on it. You know, like if I want to look at the coffee table book, I can do that. If I want to set down my book while you talk, while I watch TV, I have a place to do it, right? Beside the point, the table heights matter. And the same thing goes for like a side table. Right here behind me, I have a little table. You can't see it because it's hidden back here, but that depends on the style of chair or sofa it's next to, right? So this sofa has very tall arms. They are the same height as the back of the sofa. So I'm going to look for a table that is above the seat height, but below the arm height. That means it's accessible, I can reach it, and it creates a layer with the piece of furniture. But if you have a sofa that's a little more of a traditional style where it has a lower arm, I'm looking for a very, very specific height table, something that's taller than the seat height but lower than the arm height or equal to the arm height, just so that we're, you know, being accommodating here. These dimensions matter. They make the difference between a space that just looks good in theory and one that is actually truly livable, where we can use the furniture in the space. If the furniture is unusable, there's no point in being there. There's no point in even bothering. Don't spend the money, don't spend the time, don't buy anything for it, just move, okay? We have to have furniture that you can actually use, otherwise there's no point. Another detail you cannot mess up, you just can't do it, can't make this mistake, not allowed, I won't accept that, is art placement and proportion. Okay, we talk about artwork all of the time, and like, you know, I say like get big art. A lot of the other design commentators in YouTube space, they love to like just replicate what I'm saying when I bring that up, but like really, large scale artwork is a great way to make a small house look bigger, fill up a big empty wall. That's wonderful. But if it is not hung correctly and it's not the right proportion for the wall it's on, it just looks out of place and it looks weird. It looks crazy. Okay, my eye is going to it, and it's not because I'm appreciating the artwork, it's because it just looks weird. So here is how we place artwork. We hang it in a space. It has to make sense. A lot of it depends on the height of your ceiling, the size of the piece of artwork, and what we're trying to achieve with the look. For me, I like artwork to be hung kind of in line with itself. That creates a horizontal line that our eye naturally goes to. Or if you have an architectural feature you can hang artwork in line with, sometimes it's a window mullion or a door frame. It could be any number of things like that. Even the height of a piece of furniture, you can hang all of your artwork in line with to really up the scale of the space. And proportion means that we're looking at the size and shape of the wall or the area the artwork is going. Is it a wider proportion wall, or is it a more vertical proportion wall? If it's more vertical, we need a piece that is longer than it is wide. Or we stack multiple pieces of artwork together to create the illusion of that. For example, this wall behind me, I have two pieces of artwork hung here because it's a long, narrow wall. It's very tall, but it's not very wide. So I take smaller pieces to create the illusion of something bigger. As where the wall behind me here, I'm creating sections in this space. So I have one more rectangular shaped piece that is hung over the sofa to create that proportion. You want to do that in your space, and just look at the shape and the size of the wall you have and what's the biggest piece you could fit there. Oh, we want to fill up the width, we want to fill up the height. What does that look like? Is it wider than it is tall, or is it taller than it is wide? That's how you find the appropriate proportioned artwork for the wall it's going on. Now, design is a very intricate system that is in place in your home, and we can use it to make your home look more luxurious and beautiful and spacious and larger, or a little cozier, a little smaller, a little homier. And these details, when incorporated correctly, result in a beautiful home. So if you're stuck on some of these fine details, or you've got a big project, even a renovation, you're picking paint colors, you're doing a kitchen, I've got you covered. You can always book a one-on-one virtual consultation with me where you can show me around your home. We're gonna do a FaceTime-like call, and you can ask me all of your questions, and I can give you all of the answers. Be sure you check out the link in the description box down below, or you go to intro.co/GarrettLeChic to book a call with me. An often overlooked detail that is one of the features that completely changes the livability of any home is colors. The colors of your furniture. And I don't just mean we need to have a beautiful color story happening here. Oh, what's your color scheme? That matters. It matters, but that's not the most difficult part of this. This is not what I'm talking about. One of the questions I always ask my clients whenever we're pulling together a color scheme, when we're picking furniture for a space, is who's using it and how much? Is the dog gonna get on that chair? Is it gonna be, you know, the kids, the husband? Is it gonna be you? Is it gonna be the wife? Is it gonna, who's using it? Who is using that chair, right? I need to know this, because ultimately that's gonna affect what we choose to use on that piece, right? What upholstery are we going to use? So, you know, in a room where there's, you know, a couch, a sofa, a chair, or even if it's a rug, right? That gets a lot of use. A lot of people are going to be on and off of it. I'm probably not going to recommend a white piece of furniture, because it's going to show the most dirt, even though that is one of the biggest trends in design right now. White furniture, everything. Like, we can say online, oh, it's dated as much as we want, or we're ready to see move on from it. Yeah, I get exposure to a lot of design, as do you, because, you know, you're subscribed here and you're watching, and that's great. We see all of it, so we get tired of it quickly. We're ready to move on from it faster, but it is still one of the top trends in interior design right now is white. All white, everything white furniture, white upholstery, all of it. And that can be good, and it looks good in photos, but does it live well? That is the big question. So what colors are we using on those pieces? I'm probably not going to lead with light tones because they don't age well. And I want my clients to really, like, I want 5-10 years from now them to be like, wow, Garrett did such an amazing job. Like, everything looks perfect here. It looks so great. It's beautiful, right? I don't want them to be like, I really like that white sofa I got, but you know, it's looking a little rough now. We have to replace it. So I'm going to think about, hey, how are we living in this space? What color is going to make sense here? And how do we tie that into the whole color scheme? And I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, well, you know, you can't have red or orange or purple or pink or whatever. I'm going to be like, hey, let's think twice before we commit to a beige rug. Because if people are walking on it, it's probably going to get dirty, and then it's not going to look good very long. So let's look for something that is a little bit more of a gray tone, grayish, I guess, taupe for that rug, so that it actually lasts longer and looks good longer. Don't underestimate the power of color in your space and what color you're using on each and every piece. These are some of the details you need to think about, because having a beautiful home, having a timeless home and a home you can live in long term isn't just about it being beautiful. We can easily make a beautiful home, but that doesn't mean it's going to serve you and function well and last long. And that's the premise of every video I make, every piece of design advice I give. So if you like logical, reasonable, sensible, factual, interior design, in your home, in your life, advice, you have found the place for you. Join us, become a part of our LeChic family. Pull out your smartphone, scan this QR code right here, and it will take you directly to my channel page where you can hit the subscribe button and turn your bell notification on to get notified every time I upload. I'd also greatly appreciate if everyone watching could take a moment. You're welcome to pause the video, okay? Pause and give this video a like. I'd also greatly appreciate if you gave it a little bit of hype to get it shared across the platform. I can tell you, as someone who meets with a lot of clients, different homes, different styles, one of the biggest things we talk about and have conversations about is furniture layout and placement. This is always a conversation we have because it truly makes a difference in a home that is usable and one that is livable and one that just looks good. Honestly, I don't even think if you have a bad layout, the home looks good. Like, let's be so for real. I just don't believe that. It looks weird, it looks out of place, and I'll always have a client come to me and say, I don't like this about it. I don't like that there's not enough room here. I don't like that I have to squeeze between this to get to there. And so layout is one of the most underrated aspects of interior design. It is one of the most important, and honestly, it's one of the first places designers start when we're looking at spaces. Whether you're building a home from ground zero all the way up to, hey, we just got this place, we've been here for 20 years, whatever. What is the furniture layout? What does the house want to be? What was it intended to be? And what can we do to improve the layout and the flow throughout the space? And flow, I mean movement. There's different types of flow. You could have flow where the visual aspects of the house feels moving and like continuous throughout, or the actual physical movement through the house. Furniture layout makes the difference. Look at this space right here. What's the furniture layout? How are you even getting into this furniture arrangement? Because there's no room. We could max out a space and put as much furniture as possible into it, but if you can't get into that space to use the furniture, there's no point in having any of it there. It has to be logical, it has to make sense, and the correct furniture layout is going to take a space from an area in the house that could be usable, but we don't really use that much, or that we don't like to be in, into one of your favorite spaces in the home. So do not underestimate the power of a good furniture layout, even the size, shape, and dimensions of a piece of furniture. If you have a very square-shaped dining room, get a round dining table. If you have a very linear like dining room but has a flow path through it, like direct path through that dining space, get an oval shaped table instead of a rectangular or a square shaped table. If you want a space that, you know, it has an entry point straight through it, well, it may take eliminating a coffee table from that living room so people can walk straight through it, and instead using small TV tables, C-shaped accent tables to increase the functionality and, you know, like placements for you to put a drink or something in your living room. Think about all of these things when it comes to your home and nail your layout so you truly have a usable and beautiful home. Another underrated moment, a decorating detail, all of the things in your home that you have to be thinking about that people go so wrong with is decor. Decor is just the small accents in your space, right? It's what else is on the coffee table, right? Like maybe there's the TV remote there. Okay, what else is there? We're gonna have a coffee table book, we're gonna have a small plant, or we're gonna have, you know, a candle there. Most people either overthink or overdo decor. You do not need as much as you think. Going with a minimalist approach on your decor is an easy way to elevate the space, right? Every single piece makes the biggest impact that way. And every piece can be like a piece of artwork, right? We like plants, so if you can bring in a plant, whether it's real or a very, very, very good faux, I support that, because a little bit of greenery, a little bit of life in the space makes a difference. And then don't overdo things. Unless you are a collector of something, right? We don't need to have more and more and more and more and more of the same thing. We don't need to overcrowd absolutely every space. Leaving a little bit of empty space on a tabletop, on a shelf, in those sorts of areas makes a really big difference. An example is a lot of people think that they need to always have their table set or like staged in some way. So it's like placemats and chargers and maybe a decorative, you know, napkin or something like that. You don't need that. You just need to have one good floral arrangement in the middle of the table. Keep it nice and low, and it will be classic and clean and timeless looking, and it's not overdone, right? Maybe you want to go a little over the top and you add some candlesticks there. Okay, fine. Leave it at that. We don't always have to have everything out. And the reality is the more stuff you have sitting out everywhere, the more stuff there is to dust. So pull back a little bit and think about the best way to organize and make your decor feel intentional. Use things that serve a purpose and have a use. A vase. Well, a vase can hold flowers. Great. So that's something that has a use. Get a small decorative storage box. Put your TV remotes in there. Perfect. Put coasters on top of it so that everybody in your house has to touch the coasters to use it in order to get to the TV remotes inside of the box. Love that. So nobody is putting their drink on my beautiful marble topped or wood top table, ruining it. Slay. Great. Love that for you. All of these are things you can think about. Pull back your decor a little bit. Let the accent pillow speak because, yeah, maybe they're tying in the colors, but they're also super useful. Focus on what is useful in the space, what has great usability, and it will be the perfect piece of decor for your space. Now that we talked about some design details that make the difference in your home, let's circle back for a moment to some great layout ideas for it because honestly, makes the biggest difference, totally underrated. Be sure you check out that video right over here and I will see you over there.